making his return to Miami for the first time since he was traded to the Warriors after a tumultuous breakup with his former team. The trade has led the two franchises in opposite directions. Golden State 16-4 since Butler's debut. Meanwhile, the Heat just put an end to a 10-game losing streak. When reflecting on his return to Miami, Jimmy Butler had this to say about Heat culture. Quote, "I'm not saying it in a bad way, but I think it's a little bit like overused talking about the Heat culture. It's a great organization, but I think a large part of that culture is you get guys that buy into a winning mindset. You get some guys that buy in. You get some really good players. You get the opportunity to talk about Heat culture a little bit more. I'm not saying to talk down or anything, but I think whenever you have really good players, you can name it whatever you want to name it." All right, Stephen A. You know what, Shannon, you go. What's your reaction? Because you look like you're co-signing that. Is it more about Heat culture, more about the players, Jimmy out of line? Talk to me.
Stephen A., we talked about this with the Patriot way. What was the Patriot way, Stephen A.? Tom Brady. That was the Patriot way. And Jimmy is absolutely right. This is not a knock on the Heat, but when you got D-Wade and Shaq, when you get LeBron, D-Wade, and Chris Bosh, when you have great players, they buy in. It's the culture. Okay, the Heat culture is still there. They don't have them really good players. How it's looking. The Patriots, the Patriot way, Coach Belichick was still there. He didn't have them great players. How was the Patriot way? Whatever the way you choose to call it, when you have great players, it makes it easier to put a name to it, and you're winning because of this. No, you're winning because of those great players. In absence of those, you're going to struggle. So Jimmy is absolutely right, and this is not a knock on them. Pat Riley's done a great job of assembling the staff. Spo is a really good coach. Mickey Arison, the owner, he stays out of the way. He let Riles run everything. But the more great players you have, the better you're going to win, and then you get to label it play like a Raven. The standard is the standard at Pittsburgh. The Patriot way, Heat culture. When you have great players, it's a lot easier to win games and then call and assess something, the reason why you're winning those games.
Shannon, you're wrong. It was a knock against the Heat. And unfortunately, he didn't tell a lie. Listen, the Miami Heat are a first-class organization. We know that. And you both, as former professional athletes, know the importance of structure. You know that it matters. Okay?
Yes.
You can have great players and what have you, but if you don't have leadership, if you don't have direction, if guys come in there, Shannon, doing what they want, when they want, how they want, et cetera, and they don't answer to anybody, you know how problematic that can be. So we understand that. What Jimmy Butler was pointing to ultimately is that, like you said, Shannon, it comes down to players. But what he was saying without saying it is that Miami didn't get the players. And that's where he's looking at Pat Riley. And we can slice it any way we want to, but that's what it comes down to. I'm a person that's known Pat Riley for decades. I love and revere this man. I truly do. And the Heat are a first-class organization, no question about it. But the rigidity that has religiously been associated with Pat Riley, as you are very familiar with, Carlos Boozy, you know what I'm talking about. When they talk about Pat Riley, they can call it Wade County all they want to with these avenues and everything like this. When you talk about South Beach, you talk about Robs. You understand what I'm saying? That man runs this town. Trust me when I tell you, he runs this town. And so if you're Jimmy Butler, here's where it gets dicey, which is why I said he didn't tell a lie. It's unfortunate that he had to say what he had to say, but he ain't lying to nobody, okay? Here's the reality. Jimmy Butler is a star, but he's a very, very unconventional star. Do you know why, fellas? Because Jimmy Butler doesn't mind being secondary. You know, he's leading the team with Golden State. They're 16-3 since he arrived. He's leading the team in free throws. He's leading the team, I think, in free throw attempts. He's leading the team in assists per game. He's leading the team in offensive rebounds per game. He knows that Steph Curry is the man. He doesn't mind it at all. He was looking for the man to be in South Beach so he could win the championship. He wasn't looking to be the dude that had to rely on Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero. He wasn't looking to see somebody like a Highsmith have a higher usage rate than him. His thing is, where's a KD? Where's a Damian Lillard? Where's my version of Steph Curry, the guy that I have now? Something along those lines. And Miami doesn't have that, and they haven't been able to get it. And because of that, combined with, of course, him not getting his money, had a lot to do with him acting the way that he acted on the way out. He had to push himself out. Why did he have to do that? Because according to his camp, Pat Riley said, yo, we not trading you. You can't look at somebody like a Jimmy Butler who wants out and tell him you ain't going nowhere. Oh, no. He's not going to do that. And so he pushed himself out the door. And in the process of doing so, he let you know, yo, this is what is going on. We didn't have the personnel. He ain't going to disrespect his former teammates like that. But that's essentially what he was saying. And if you don't have the personnel, who are you going to look at? Pat Riley. That's exactly what he intended us to interpret. And that's what I'm interpreting.
Carlos, good morning, by the way.
Morning,
Thanks for
guys.
being back here with us. I like the outfit. Where are you on this?
I mean, I agree with both what Stephen A. and Uncle Shannon said. I mean, basically, he wasn't wrong with what he said. It does take players to win championships, but 100% the Heat culture is Pat Riley. He brought that in. He was a Los Angeles Laker with Magic Johnson and Kareem. Went to the Knicks, did the same thing with Pat and those guys. Brought that same structure that Stephen A. talked about to the Miami Heat. You have to have structure from the top to the bottom. He makes sure everybody's in shape. They do body fat tests. They make sure the guys are in condition. You go out, you have to have the players to win. They had Dwayne Wade, they had Shaquille O'Neal, and a bunch of other guys. They won a championship in 2006. They came back, they had LeBron in the Big Three. They won more championships. You got to have the guys, but the Heat culture was set by Pat Riley from day one.
And one other thing I want to add before you chime in, Shannon. I want to add this in before you chime in, Shannon. It's not just understand what it is. Like you said, Booz, Heat culture was established. But in Jimmy's eyes, as is the case with any of y'all or me or anybody else, the person responsible for the culture is also the person responsible for uplifting it by making sure you continue to inspire and motivate folks to live up to the culture. And Jimmy was saying that's not what he received. Yeah, we did good. Yeah, we won games. We exceeded expectations by getting to the finals twice. When in fact, if the culture is what it's supposed to be, it shouldn't have been a surprise. We should have had the personnel in place in order to be in that picture all the time instead of relying on somebody like him who genuinely knows he can be a number one option but doesn't mind being deferential to a superstar like Steph Curry, which is what he has shown since he has arrived in Golden State.
Well, how about I break it to you down like this, Stephen A.
Okay.
Culture works when your best player is willing to buy in. What was Tom Brady willing to do? Because so now, if you see Tom Brady doing that and he's the greatest, what is expected of everybody else? You see, Jimmy, what problem would happen with the Heat culture? Jimmy stopped buying in. Now, Stephen A., as you were saying, the Pat Riles, now all of a sudden Jimmy's not buying in. What do you got? You see what happened?
Well,
Jimmy, go ahead. What were you going to say? What's your retort?
My retort would be this, Shannon. They have to buy in, that's true. But you as a player know there's a limitation. Who did Jimmy Butler lose his first NBA Finals to? LeBron. Who did he lose his second NBA Finals to? Jokic. So in other words, there was he upset Giannis. Yeah, he got to the NBA Finals. But in the end, what he was ultimately saying is that, we got to